Welcome back, and so let's begin the first leg of our conversation this morning. It's a new dawn at Nigeria's election management body with the confirmation of Professor Joash Amupitan by the Senate yesterday. Of course, it was an opportunity to come up close and perhaps a bit personal with the new man that will head Nigeria's electoral body. So what will INEC look like under Professor Joash Amupitan? Perhaps we can make projections. So let's start this together. And joining us in the studio, we have Mr. Jerry Chukwueke. He is a public affairs analyst and former chief technical advisor to Governor Hope Uzodinma. He joins us right here in our Lagos studio.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chukwueke. It's good to have you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much.
Yes, and so I'm sure you watched the screening yesterday as Professor Amupitan, answered questions from the senators. How does it come across to you? Is he the kind of INEC chairman that you want to see henceforth?
Well, first of all, it's a great appreciation for what Mr. President did in nominating him as part of his transformation agenda. It's a transformation agenda that Nigerians now really expect of him. But here is my take in terms of what I have looked at very carefully. Professor Joe Amupitan, Professor Joe, young people call him that, has a very no-nonsense upbringing.
Do you know him personally?
Yes, I know quite a bit. I grew up in Benue Plateau, so I know him quite a bit.
Personally?
Well, let me put it this way. I know him quite a bit.
Interesting.
And I say this because when you have a no-nonsense upbringing by school teachers, that's who his parents are, they hold no prisoners. You do what needs to be done. That's the foundation of integrity and character. And God-fearingness. And courage. So look at all the academic qualifications. I'm not going to focus on that too much. I'm talking about character and how that leads to integrity, because that's a big issue, big deal for where we're going. So let's dimension a little bit, and then we can take it from there. One, I think one of the critical aspects of what's transpired here is the fact that Mr. President chose a man who is an authority in, and I pay close attention to this for the things that will come out of it, in the law of evidence. In addition to that, an expert, a specialist in corporate governance and due process. Now, when you look at the issue of being an authority in the law of evidence, you will appreciate the fact that one of the huge challenges of INEC is being that a lot of materials that came out of INEC, positions, papers that went to the courts, failed to stand legal scrutiny. That was part of the challenge we faced. Now, we now have an opportunity for a man who understands that what comes out of INEC must stand legal scrutiny in court, leading the team. In addition to the fact that when you are a specialist in due process and corporate governance, bearing in mind that you have 12 INEC commissioners, national commissioners, 2 from each geopolitical zone, it means that you have a team of strong managers that you must empower and lead by example, and hold them to account, and ensure that the decisions made by the commission follow due process, particularly in the areas of contract awards. Who are the vendors? Who are the suppliers? How did you get there? Is the material quality? Is the technology quality? Are these reputable contractors and subcontractors? Were they there on merit or influenced by political pressure? Very important to delivering quality election results. In addition to that, when you expand it further with resident commissioners who now join in that management team, are you leading by example? And are you someone who can stand political pressure. The name of the game is integrity. So that's why I keep going back to his upbringing. You get it from when you were raised. That's how you judge. Who raised you? What sort of character was inculcated in you? That's the key. If you get it right going in, it helps.
You've spoken very highly of him. And,
yes.
You know, a lot of Nigerians listening right now, as much as they want to give him the benefit of the doubt, I mean, give him a chance. He's not even spent one day in office yet, so let's wait to see.
Yes.
And that's how even other political parties are approaching this.
Yes.
You know what, let's wait to see. This is what we expect. But we're not going to judge you just yet because you've not gotten to work, even the civil society. But Nigerians will tell you, we've heard this before. During the previous election, for example, there were promises made, and the interpretation a lot of people got was, okay, this is how that election will be conducted. This is what will be expected. I mean, we were also part of this because we had conversations with the electoral officers. But the election happened, and you know the talk about IREV, eventually went to court, and the court made a pronouncement. But the point I'm trying to make is, Nigerians have been here before. But I want to latch onto a point you made about him having to work with national commissioners.
Correct.
So the thinking also is, he is just one of many people who are responsible for election management in Nigeria. Yes. So we may just be paying too much attention to him.
Correct.
At the expense of others who probably have more power.
Probably have on-the-ground responsibilities. So here's the point, and you raise an important point that piggybacks on what I was saying earlier. I think the point here is, if you are someone who is a specialist in due process and good governance, you are in a position to appreciate the collective management strategy. That is important in delivering results. You empower your colleagues. You set milestones and deliverables. You monitor them, and you lead by example, and you allow oxygen and ventilation so their views are carried along. So it is not commission capture. It's a critical point, because sometimes leaders go in there and they just capture the entire environment and become the mini-god of that structure. That's not who Professor Joe is. I believe he will allow his colleagues to play an important role and ensure that the foot soldiers do the needful. But here's the point. I go back to the issue of leading by example, and that's part of the strong character I believe he'll bring to the party. The issue of ensuring that election officers and ad hoc staff are trained properly.
Now that is the issue.
That is key. The man is an administrator.
And bringing to bear that strength of character that you talked about, and firmness in disciplining erring resident electoral commissioners or national commissioners. I guess that's the heart of Kade's question. Are you seeing that?
Absolutely.
That is a trait that we'll see him display when the test comes?
It's an important opportunity, and I'm confident he will do it, because that's part of who he is. I make that point because what Nigerians expect is that he goes in there and he dislodges whatever those structural challenges with regards to vested interests that may hamper where we're going. I don't believe Professor Joe will stand for it. He'll be nice about it, but he'll be firm. There's no problem with being firm so long as you're fair. So I think he'll be fair, but firm, and I think he understands from what his parents taught him, bring back our name, and he must also bring back the name of Mr. President, who took the first step and that big bold risk to nominate him. He has to bring back their names and the names of Nigeria. Very important. I think he'll do it.
Let's talk about another area where Nigerians may be in huge doubt about whether he'll be firm or not. And he's been appointed under the current law, which allows Mr. President to appoint the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. But, there is an element in the Electoral Reform Amendment Bill currently before the National Assembly that says, look, we don't want Mr. President to appoint the INEC chairman anymore. Let it be under an independent body. We don't know. Nigerians may be saying right now, we don't know what went on between Professor Joash and Mr. President. He's denied that he was on the presidential legal team during the 2023 elections. But are you confident or sitting, uncomfortably as far as that is concerned, where his relations will be with the federal government when the test comes during elections?
So here we go. It may not surprise you that one of his best friends and client is Senator Dino Malai. Does that sound to you like somebody who will be beholden to the senator or Mr. President? If it were a politically driven appointment, he wouldn't be the nominee of Mr. President, being so closely associated with Senator Dino Malai. Number two, even the obedient movement supported his nomination and happy about the confirmation. He's open-minded. Now I go back to character, the courage to withstand political pressure. When you are a man or woman who has a good sense of self-contentment, and that's what I always like about the Jos environment. People talk about why was he also so much at Jos? Well, you know what? I think people who understand when to say when, right? And driven by principle. I've heard some of his close friends and some people he didn't even know as well, who on principle, he took on their legal matters pro bono and drove them all the way to success. So the man is open-minded. I think he'll do good for Nigeria. And I make this point as well. When I talk the obedient support for him and the way young people like him, Nigerian young people are technology savvy. They want him to focus on a transformation agenda that deploys the best technology so as to reduce the influences and the interruptions or the interest of human hands. That's one part. And we're going to talk about what this might mean for security challenged areas, because that's another story. But I can say this. If you vet the contractors well, if you ensure that the best technology is what you're going to deploy, and they are not political appointees, and you also deploy specialists, special assistants who are experts in the respective fields to support him, I think we'll get to where we need to go.
I think you're doing a fantastic job. I don't know if you'll be considered as maybe one of his spokespersons, but first, I think it may be stretching it too far, saying young people support him. Yes, we may have seen a few people make comments, but saying generality, even the obedience, a lot of them will tell you that, is there a poll that you carried out that says, we the obedient support him? Even for Mr. Peter Obi, the call from him was, this is what should be done. It wasn't a statement of, oh, okay, we're now one and the same. But before you speak to this, I want to show you a video from 2019, because you also mentioned the relationship he's had with politicians, particularly Senator Dino Melai. So this is a video from 2019 where he was praising Senator Dino Melai at an event. So this is the current INEC chairman now, Professor Joash Amupitan, in 2019. Take a listen to what he was saying about Mr. Dino Melai. So that was him speaking very highly about Senator Dino Melai. And one of the concerns people have raised is, one, being a lawyer, two, being someone who is close to politicians. Now that's a picture of him with Senator Dino Melai right there, and someone, I think you've referenced that. So isn't that a danger to the electoral process? Because first, he's close to them. He's a lawyer, and in fact, Mr. Akintobi, I don't know if you caught some of the things he was saying, that it's dangerous having a lawyer at the head.
So how do you operate in Nigeria? Here's a son, a respected one for that matter, an expert in the law of evidence, right? Not having clients who become, in one way or the other, closely associated with him. So, and I make this point, Senator Dino Melai is one of the strongest members of the opposition to this current administration. It's well documented. So if the issue were that Mr. President was concerned about some political relationship, he wouldn't go to a man.
But Mr. President didn't appoint him. Sorry, Mr. Dino Melai didn't appoint him. It's Mr. President that appointed him.
That's the point I'm making. He would not, if that
so
was...
Mr. President is his boss, by extension.
No. But I'm saying even in the nomination, if the challenge was, I mean, his relationship with Senator Dino Melai would have posed a challenge to his nomination by Mr. President, because Dino Melai is a strong member of the opposition. So I was making that point with regards to his open-mindedness and Mr. President's vision about the transformation agenda. That's the point I'm making. But more specifically, even on the issue you raised with the obedience, if you follow the tracks, and all I know is watch and see and analyze, obedience actually don't follow parties, they follow individuals. It's about where they perceive a performer is in place to deliver transformation. That's what they think. But very importantly, the young people, many of them that I'm referring to, are in fact technology savvy. That's where their interest lies. You know, the confusion about BVAS delivering the results real time, boom boom, on the ground, and collated and announced, so there is no story. And that's why I keep going back to the logistics nightmare that must be carefully now managed. And this is why those specialists he needs to put together, who will assist him and work with him, and these commissioners have to be empowered. The job is enormous. But when you have a man who can lead by example and who can withstand political pressure, and who says whatever is coming out of INEC will stand the test of time in the law court, and he's prepared by character to bring back his parents' names, I think we'll have a good chance. And I say this, one of the differences in my view between him and many other INEC chairmen who were professors, we've seen many of them, I go back, is this issue of being an authority in the law of evidence and understanding corporate governance and due process. Let's give the whole commission a chance to operate, so he becomes the leader of a team, first amongst equals. Nigerians want efficiency in the game. And I make this point as well. I think that the people who will now train these election officers and ad hoc staff need lead time. The contractors and deploying expert technology requires lead time. So this government and the National Assembly has got a job to do. Give them the tools they need to do this work, and do so on time. Get the budget, get the funding, get it to them on time, so they have sufficient leadway to get on with this enormous task.
Yeah, and to that, you know, perhaps civil society would say, under the last administration at INEC, the federal government is still owing them some money from the last election cycle, and that is at the heart of the performance of INEC.
Absolutely.
But still, you know, on the matter of the strength of character of the new man at INEC, he said, look, losers will congratulate winners under his watch during elections. He's also talked about how he would audit BVAS, you know, and if you listen to our last guest, Mr. Kitabi was saying that's courageous, and it will open a can of worms. Considering the fact that the last election produced Mr. President as winner, are you seeing Professor Josh going all the way through with this, if it's going to, you know, expose a lot of things?
Well, he is well equipped to do that. And that is why I think that we all must rally. The National Assembly and the Presidency, give them the lead time, give them the funding they need, certainly efficiently. But having said that, They need time to get on with the work at hand. We already have the Anambra elections coming up. We have 2 other subnational elections coming up in terms of gubernatorial. So the work is enormous. He needs to get out there and get on with it. Right. But he's well equipped to do it. That's really the point I'm making. And if he gets the support he needs, I think he has the strength of character to take on the political pressure that will come and to actually get a management strategy out there that leading by example that can deliver the results Nigerians are looking for.
So Nigerians are sending in their comments about what they expect from the INEC chairman. I'll take this one from Omolabake, saying, what I expect from the new chairman is a restoration of public confidence and credibility. One of the biggest tasks is to rebuild trust in elections. People want assurance that votes will count, results will be fair, and INEC will not be manipulated. That's from Omolabake. This one from Abbas Gata says, what I desire is total independence of INEC without any form of interference from the political class, that the federal government give the necessary support to the new INEC chairman to actualize the new restructuring plan. There's more comments. This one is from Dr. Joseph Ekong, saying an INEC with experienced upstream and downstream staff to deliver fairer, more transparent and credible elections. Now, that's very interesting. Upstream and downstream staff. I love that. It's amazing you know what you hear from Nigeria.
In that regard.
Let me take one more. One more from Ifeanyi Ability. This one says, to me, the new INEC boss is a good choice, considering the region he comes from. However, I would have preferred a better way of appointing an INEC chairman than the president doing that. And, okay, I promised I was going to be the last, but one more from Bala. Bala is writing from Jos, Plateau State, saying, what I expect from the new INEC chairman, improved electoral processes, enhanced credibility, reforms, and innovation. But we're also building this on the assumption that there may just be a new amendment. The amendment will sail through. So for you, do you think we need the amendment for him to work better, or he can still work with the current law we have? So as we wind down.
I think this is where the National Assembly can really help us out here. My view is that rather than technology, beavers being back up, beavers should be the lead, and the manual counting should back up the beavers or the technology standard, the IREF. Yeah. If that becomes the case, then you're basically saying we will largely rely on the technology, but where it is failing because of, for example, power supply not being able to be activated or some technology failure, then it is backed up by the manual counting and reporting. That's one. And number two, and I think also this is part of what Nigerians are really concerned about, to say, okay, current law is that INEC's position is the law. That's where we are. And part of what the National Assembly needs to do, in my view, is to say, should INEC's position remain the law? So if they're wrong about a position and they remain the law, I'm not so sure about that. Because Nigerians are looking for transformation.
Well, it's the courts that actually said, you know, this is what it is for. So they have the courts backing.
Yeah, but guess what? But the National Assembly can change that.
Oh, I see.
That's the point I'm making. They make the law.
On the part of the election transmission of results.
Yes.
Electronic, rather.
Yes. So I'm saying we all need to come together.
All right.
We need, and that's the expectation of Nigeria.
And we hope that the fact that he's being a lawyer and, you know, proficient in the Evidence Act, he would probably lead the charge, you know, in the advocacy for electoral reform.
I think that is the point.
Yeah, in all public engagements.
I think that's
thank you very much. And Anchor, at this point, we've been talking with Mr. Jerry Chukwueke, a public affairs analyst and former chief technical advisor to Governor Hope Uzodinma. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
And from this point, we'll switch gears. When we return, we'll talk about water transportation in Lagos. It's an exciting conversation. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.